Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Teams quite a while ago, though they know that there is still plenty for them to enact at the other end of the table as the season for 2026 flies into its final fortnight. My name is Ethan Rigg, and this is a date that Box Hill, right at the start of the campaign, perhaps would have earmarked, perhaps would have pinpointed as one where they could wrap things up. They will need a stroke of luck, and they will need things to fall in their favour, though they know they are close. If it is not to be today, 2 wins from 2 will do the job. Keilor Park will be hoping to throw a spanner in the works, to smear all over the picture that they are wanting to paint. As we approach kickoff out in Keilor Park, we'll take you through the starting lineups. And for a Keilor Park side who were victorious at South Melbourne only a week ago, it's been slight rotation to it. Amelia Ingles starts alongside Tamsin Smith, Mia Power, Jess Au, who's been in recently good form since returning. Georgia Henderson's been a rock in midfield. Jess Sheehan, Ellie Vlamink is one of those additions. Maggie Byrne between the sticks. Sarah and Grace Mitchell, as well as Runa Komedori. For Box Hill themselves, they know how crucial today can be. It's been a side that have been well and truly pushing in the race for the Premiership all season. Kili Segevcic is entrusted between the sticks. Emilia Tatalia, Rihanna Polisina, who's been superb since her mid-season return. Chiara Beccelli, Sydney Minaric, Sofia Palivodja, Holly Murray, who got the goal that's got them level on their most recent trip to Bulleen, where Polisina got a brace in order to win it. Maho Murakami, Laura Pickett, Juri Kawano, and Sophia Sakalis is also entrusted for a side who are getting oh so close to one of a domestic double that which they desire so dearly. Treble was chalked off in the cup for them. So where they can't win the entire lot, they can dominate the league side of the season. Been a side who have found the net frequently, who have found ways to see out games. That will certainly be required of them in droves today. Keilor Park wanting well and truly to upset their travellers and make their trip out west certainly a wild one. And maybe, just maybe, unearth a few demons for the reigning champions in their own Premiership prospects. These two teams, of course, had their first meetings this campaign in quite a long time. It was some wait for Keilor Park and Box Hill to meet again. You had to go over 2 decades before this calendar year. They first met earlier on the 8th of May. Sydney Minaric and Cara Beccelli both on the score sheet as Box Hill were victorious 2-0. Side who had 5 straight league wins. That came to curtail, though they're 6 unbeaten as they were held by Avondale last week. And Keilor Park were 4 without a win before their win at South Melbourne. There's Murakami. Steered it for Sakalis early. Minaric was happy to set it back. This is a fixture that historically Box Hill have found favour and fortune in. 18 wins out of the prior 20 to Keilor Park's 2. Neither team has ever held the other, as Tatalia had to get a foot in to good effect. Steered it on for Beccelli, who looked to clip it into the feet of Kawano. She couldn't quite get it under. Power wanted to thread for Jessica out down the line. Sakalis was well and truly in the way. The equation for them is simple today. If they win, if Essendon Royals are to lose, the job is done with a week to spare. If not, it will go to the final day. And they know a position of positivity, bar one where they are held today and Essendon Royals are to be victorious, they will retain their place at the top of the table, as it is getting to that stage. The side who have so desperately wanted to go again. They were the early pace setters, were Box Hill in this season. For Keilor Park, they took their respective time to get going in 2026, though made up for it in good style. As Power lunged in, Box Hill wanted a free kick, which they will not get. So charge forward for Minarik. He stayed alert and prevented the corner. Power had to time that perfectly and did so. Polisina had a yard early. Was followed in good kind by Smith, who was then able to get it back from Power but couldn't thread it further forward. This one though for Box Hill, it's not been a ground that they've played at regularly. This is their first trip out to Keilor Park since 2005. 21 years and 3 weeks ago was the last time they played at this ground. It was a fruitful day for them though. They were victorious by 3-0. They will be hoping for similar comfort and similar style today. That's a gorgeous ball for Polisina, who has got room to go, and heard Bocelli bounding forward. She was found smashingly. Chiara Bocelli squared it, and there to stroll in the opener was Kawano. In no time, Box Hill blast themselves ahead. It was weighted, it was measured. Polisina flicked the switch. And the ball for Bocelli was weighted wonderfully. She stood for Kawano, who couldn't miss. And on a day where they know a fast start is of pivotal importance, Box Hill are bounding and are stretching their legs already. Such a smooth move. Has been a trademark, really, of how this side have played this season. For Kawano, it's goals in back-to-back games. She got them ahead against Avondale last week. The perfect start to a day that they were hoping was won without trouble. And without the slight greyness that engulfs this place. Again, steered for Kawano, who looked to clip it round the corner. Bocelli had tucked in. Tatalia was unable to get there on the overlap. Commodori steered it for Mitchell. Power helped it on. There was space for out, though through came Murray. For a Keilor Park side, last time they played here against Heidelberg United, they were defeated. It's been some time since they last won a league game at home. Last two, they've only picked up a point. As that's speared for Bocelli, who again had room to roam into, though was fraught of anyone further forwards. Patience from Tatalia. Polisina. With a sharp swivel, Kawano set it for Bocelli. Sheehan gave chase. Tatalia. A very patient approach and start to this game. Speared forward by Polisina again beautifully. And Bocelli is in behind. Kawano's up with her. Chiara Bocelli still going, held off by Ingles. Set for Polisina. Bocelli. Tatalia. Guided for Palivoja. Space for Polisina, who fancied a drive and won a corner. Guys had to come across the block. And Keilor Park have been picked open a couple of times early. Box Hill's first corner. Looking to continue a smashing start and truly fly out of the traps. Murakami's take. Set to an awkward area. And in the end, there was contact on Byrne, who will win a free kick. It was whipped wonderfully. and right into a space which Byrne would not have wanted. There was convergence in the corridor, though she was impeded. Henderson's flick on. She did supremely well to win it. Mitchell went and lost it. Policina picked it off. Her touch was heavy. Recovered by Henderson. On by Sheehan. Flaming did well. Henderson looked to steer it for Flaming, though the race was led by Murray and Pickett, who sorted it out between them. Laura Pickett again invited to carry. Space for Murakami on the turn. Kawano. Tatalia will give chase to make it work, though ultimately in vain. Well and truly this ground, though, Keilor Park coming today back home. Historically, their only 2 wins over Box Hill have come here, though they have not found fortune since right at the end of May in 2004. 22-year wait, which Box Hill are well and truly on course to extend. Keilor Park wanting to settle after a start where they've been carved open. Murakami and Kawano again in combination, set for Policina, who since her return has come up with many a big moment. Was at the double against Bulleen not too long ago on their last travel. It swung the game in their favour. Could be a crucial moment as Kawano was almost in behind and was nearly given a gift, though Byrne was there to spare Power's blushes. Had to judge it for perfection, and Kawano had a really vested interest. Flaming went and nodded on. The flag was up for offside. This game following quite a similar script to the one which preceded it when they met earlier this season. Minarek scored inside the game's first 2 minutes. They were 2 up within 20 were Box Hill, and that was seemingly enough for the eve. Tatalia. Murakami, space for Policina. And again looked to spear it for Bocelli. Henderson got the ricochet. Sheehan hugged the touchline. Looking to return it was Mitchell. The ball had already gone. Reigning champions off to the perfect start. We're the first team to book themselves as part of the final series this season, in hope well and truly of back-to-back triumph. It was a good take on the turn from Palivodja. Kawano couldn't get it under. Sheehan recovered it. Mitchell, who was under immense pressure from both Kawano and Bocelli, had to clear. A massively quick Box Hill start. Tatalia again wanting to work some space. Bocelli and Kawano combine. Chiara Bocelli looked to steer it towards the back post where Sakalis was converging, though was not across the cheek court clearly. And in the race for the Premiership, they know it. With 2 weeks to go, or 2 weeks where they have to be perfect, goal difference falls in favour of Essendon Royals, who themselves have got the opportunity today at home to Heidelberg, if there is to be any sort of Box Hill slip up, to usurp them and go back to the top of the table. Both will be keeping an eye on how that transpires. Likewise, we'll turn their attention at 4 o'clock to Bulleen, who host Spring Hills. The trio in the title race, Avondale and Burundara 2. Both of the Avengers there on the outside looking in. In space for Tatalia, who can charge. Bocelli up with her in support. Kawano had gone beyond. Chiara Bocelli gave it a go. And though it did have whip, it was not enough in truth to trouble Bern. And those little pockets they've been able to find. Well, where boxing have caused much devastation. Keilor Park still not able to settle. Bocelli not allowing them to get out in any kind. And the flick on from Bocelli. Fell for Murakami, who had crept forward. Polisina looked to slide her in return. Ball will trickle through. For Bern to gather without too much fuss. Again, Bocelli on the press. Mitchell looked to steer it down the line for Henderson, who was marshalled out by Tatalia. Tatalia once more. Gave it and got it back to Palevoja. Pickett waited on Polisina. Palevoja looked to steer for Bocelli, who got in ahead of Mitchell. Was clipped away no further than Palevoja, who got away from Henderson. Tatalia. Pickett wonderfully away from two. Nearly spun into trouble, then threaded it for Polisina. Bocelli clipped it over the top for Kawano, who guided it for Murakami, though Bern was alert to it and had to be. The most delicate of flicks from Kawano. Murakami's run maybe a fraction too late. Bern was able to go and gather it. Al couldn't keep that alive. Flick up by Power. Shout for handball was waved away. Power had room to drive. Steered down the line where Murray mopped up, though could go no further. Keilor Park just wanting to settle. For much of the opening quarter of an hour, they've been on the back foot. Kawano, the difference maker. That's a good take from Murray. Steered for Palevoja centrally. Murakami, Polisina. Unable to steer it further forward. Taken up by Henderson. One back by Al from Palevoja, who steered it tidely for Sheehan. She looked to clip in the channel for Henderson. Ball was too heavy. Will trickle out for a goal kick. Still looking and already in a good stead to go 12 league games unbeaten. Have not lost since right at the end of May on that disastrous day for them at Essendon Royals, where credentials were tested and for them they could not quite rise to them. Since then, bar a cup exit, they have been superb. Had not dropped points in a month and a half until they hosted Avondale last week. As Murray is invited forwards, Murakami. Tatalia. Again, Murakami had space, and again Bocelli is bounding beyond. Flicked it away from Commodori, set it back for Kawano. Murakami, Bocelli had to slide to find Murakami, who was just unable to get it under. For a side who defensively have been good as well this season. En route today for a 10th league clean sheet. Only 4 have conceded fewer. And Box Hill, and only Essendon Royals have scored more. Kawano, that's wonderfully measured. Polissina was unable to steer it for Murakami, who had made her move. Byrne was quickly across to gather it, though fired it only for Minaric. They're looking to go further forwards. Murray. Polissina. Drop for Laura Pickett. Space for Tatalia. Again, Bocelli had opened up. Polissina. Henderson hustling her. Cycle through Pickett. Before Laura Pickett had the misfortune of steering into her own net last week against Avondale. Someone who, aside from that, has hardly put a foot wrong this campaign. Polissina was measured. In to drop in was Sakalis. Space for Murakami. Up further was Minaric, who had advanced. Sakalis. Away from out. Still going was Sakalis. It was blocked in the end by Glaze. Bocelli came through and was met by Grace Mitchell, who flew in to deny her too. Though it was balletic from Sophia Sakalis. Who had just glided before her effort was blocked. Polissina. Again away from Henderson, away from Sheehan, steered to the near post, away by Ingles. Palivodja marshalled well and did not give Flaming Kenny way further forward. Taken up by Sheehan, who was met by Palivodja. Tatalia happy to marshal it out of play. Okay, going again through Pickett. Murray. And Laura Pickett happy to slow things almost to stationary. Palivodja had opened up momentarily. A very patient Box Hill approach. Side 2 on the road have picked up 22 points. Only beaten on 3 occasions, the last of which was away at Essendon. It's been a long stint away. Ticking over to 3 months tomorrow since they were last beaten on the road. Sakalis again with space. Minaric further forward. Palivodja, who looked to steer it for Bocelli. In was Mitchell. Nodded back by Palivodja. Murakami surrounded by purple. Polissina now. Again was just able to get away. It was set for Tatalia. Polissina, who was unable to get further forward. And had it picked off by Mitchell. Recovered by Bocelli. Polissina. Al was converging. Murray had to be quick. Palivodja set it back for Pickett. Keilor Park are being shuffled about. Was spit for Sydney Minaric, who steered it smashingly for Kawano in behind. The flag has stayed down. 2 converging. Kawano into corner.
I thought it was compulsory, but I guess. Yeah, it was compulsory.
Magnificent Minaric ball. Kawano had timed the run superbly. And again, Box Hill have gone through the gears in rapid succession. Have themselves another corner. Opportunity to double their lead. Polisina sauntering over. Took it short, took it quickly for Bocelli. Set back for Polisina, speed to the near post, and nearly went through the lot. Was hooked off the line by Commodore, and it had to be. Kawano battling, had to beat, and did so. Bocelli away from outset, back for Palivoja. Runa Commodore with a vital intervention to prevent it from being two. Pick it where Tatalia had space. Palivoja precise, Minaric couldn't get it under. Commodore got a foot in. Cleared no further than Murray. Laura Pickett again patient. Dropping in is Murakami. She looked to spin Smith and then steer it superbly out the other way. Space again for Polisina. Sakalis had made her move and wanting it in return. Away by Commodore, no further than Minaric. Steered for Polisina by Sakalis. And steered to the back post where Murakami was lunging. And couldn't make contact to steer it the other side. Another supremely intricate move. Sakalis and Polisina worked wonderfully with one another. Ball was hit with pace to the back post. Murakami just couldn't quite catch up with it. Had she done, could very well have turned in for two. Flicked on by Henderson, taken by out. Her return was good. Space for Sheehan, whose touch invited Tatalia back into the race. Emilia Tatalia, who was then calm to go and win it. Out hustled Pickett, who was under pressure. Segovcic had to clear, recovered by Mitchell, looked to go on for Sheehan. Tatalia with two to beat. They had to get a foot in. First real bit of bite Keilor Park have offered in terms of making things uncomfortable for Box Hill when playing out. Jessica Rao looked to turn sharply. Tatalia came across and came through. Keilor Park looking in way of reply. Looking to get themselves level. Our touch was loose. Murakami. Sakalis. Out the other way was Minaric. Murray. Again, plenty of space for Murakami, for which he can drop into. Polisina now. Gone for Pickett. Henderson went to Polisina, just to see if she could cause discomfort. Pickett and Polisina worked it wonderfully. Tatalia looked to steer it back. Henderson battling. Polisina evaded her. In was Ingles's Kawano looked to turn. Picked up by Palivoja, who has got options roaming forward, one of whom is Sakalis. Looking to shift beyond power. Set for Polisina. And the bounce was kind for Byrne. She went to claim it. In which Polisina hit without too much pace. Perhaps looking to clip one in behind. Ingles, Sheehan can turn. Bocelli got a foot on it. It's a suave turn from Tatalia, and again Polissina with room. Palivodja. Sakalis, who has operated wonderfully in those pockets. Looked to thread it for Bocelli. Ingles got a foot in. And Grace Mitchell had to clear. Reigning champions turning the screw for a second. Bocelli. Kawano. Tatalia. Blaming Cads. An interest for a brief moment. Pickett helped it on for Murray. Just looking to see what could unlock Keilor Parkside, who are settled. Murakami. Space open for Polissina, who got away from Vlaming, was going at Smith, got it back from Sakalis. Challenge was a good one, steered for out. Henderson had gone on the charge, the ball could not find her. Cut out by Murray. Murakami. Vlaming was in the way. There's a Keilor Park team that have found some goals hard to come by this season. In way of replies, that's a lovely ball for Bocelli, who looked to roll for Kawano. Way by Ingles, no further than Palivodja. It's closed down by Al just as she shaped to have a go. Away by Mitchell. Vlaming and Tatalia were grappling with one another. Vlaming wins a free kick. And for Amelia Tatalia, a talking to. Commodori's take. Henderson had timed the run well. Just too tall for Al, nodded away by Minarik. No further than Vlaming, who looked to work a yard. Henderson was on the charge, was unable to keep it in. Had she got there, they may well have been a flag too. And the first time they've really been able to find room in behind. It was a well-made run by Georgia Henderson. Keilor Park just offering some way of reply. Side who have only scored 23 this season, only the bottom two who are already relegated have scored fewer. It's been a side that have built on grinding out results. 4 league clean sheets for them, they can't add to that today. Oh, this is not unfamiliar territory. Pickett was measured. Sakalis was under pressure from Smith. Steered for Pickett, who got there ahead of Vlaming and had to, and now has room and has Tatalia beyond her. Bocelli round the outside. Kawano came to lend a hand. Bocelli going at Mitchell, going beyond Mitchell. And Glace allowed her to sort it out. Cleared no further than Tatalia. Kawano. Unable to keep it alive. The ball eventually does trickle out of play. Still Box Hill in search of a second. And it was for Juri Kawano early, who has now been played in behind by Polissina, though Byrne was alert to it. And was there to mop up. Just as Kawano looked to creep behind and add a second. Byrne has gone to gather well so far. Smith moves on for Power, who has got room to charge into. Minarik in retreats. Moore was whipped without any discomfort for Segevcic, who was quick to release Policina. Bocelli. Murakami. Palivodja was patient. Murakami gave her an outlet. Made it up for Minarik, whose touch was heavy. She got up, though couldn't keep it alive. Palivodja again. They swivel out of trouble. Murray on for Pickett. Policina. Hill allowed to play with ease. Not much in the way of pressure. Policina now under a touch from Sarah Mitchell, though. Pickett as an outlet. Policina now on the charge. Again, speed from Minarik. Sakalis went beyond her. Sheehan's challenge nearly with fortune found Sakalis, and across was Commodore to clear. Still, they have not let Keilor Park out. And the opportunity of real consequence they have been able to conjure was shut out without much fuss as Murakami. 3 to beat and couldn't do so. And now the opportunity for Vlaming to drive forward. She had no one up with her in way of support, which allowed Satalia to get a foot in. There's Palivodja. Set it back for Pickett. Keilor Park thought they might have had a throw. They were not best pleased about it. Murray, Sakalis, Policina. Space had opened up for Bocelli. Quickly, though it was closed down. Policina once more. Now Bocelli. Set back by Tatalia for Pickett. It has been a half of complete control for the reigning champions. That's nicely threaded by Tatalia. Bocelli turned beyond 3. Policina. Kawano. Policina. Sakalis wore it in way of friendly fire. Was recovered by Henderson. Vlaming then flicked it on, and Henderson's got room. Tatalia's in retreat. Hours further forward. Away from Palivodja, in was Murray with a terrifically timed challenge and a good read. Murakami. Speed for Kawano, taken down by Ingles. Jessica Rouse turn into Palivodja. Policina. Murray. First real space. That box still have had to open up on the break. They had 3 surging forward, but were not able to make good on it. Despite being a goal down for Keilor Park, they've been disciplined defensively. They've had quite a lot to withstand in this first half. Murakami, Policina. Now Palivodja still looking to find space. Murray on for Pickett. Bocelli had made a run. Pickett had obliged. Chiara Bocelli just couldn't quite get it under. Player who set up the first goal. Steered it supremely for Kawano. Spent time in Auckland, spent time at Sampdoria. Now he's part of a Box Hill team that are looking today with hope, if they can't close out the Premiership, to control their fate at least, as Bocelli. Sarah Mitchell in firmly, but to good effect. Henderson. Looked to clip it in behind for Al. Segovcic was quickly out to meet it. Palevoja patient. Murray. Pickett with space. Kawano had dropped in. Polisina looking to link up with Murakami. Return for Polisina, who was unable to thread it for Bocelli. Quite a Saturday, in truth, around the Senol National Premier League Victoria Women's. Games with massive implications at the top end of the table in terms of the both Premiership hunt and Finals hunt. Melbourne Victory leads Alamein. Game that they have to win. Boroondara have made a quick start away at Avondale. They're 2 up at Avenger Park, but for Box Hill at the moment, if it stays how it is at Cross Keys, they cannot wrap up the Premiership today. Essendon Royals 2 up against Heidelberg, knowing they needed to make an important start, as they themselves are in search of a respective treble. So for now, there is no change to the Premiership picture. Box Hill doing their bit, not only to keep any hope of securing it today, but also staying ahead of the race into the final day as well. Nodded on by Murray. Palevoja power got up. Sheehan couldn't chase behind. Pickett under pressure from Al, but it opened space for Tatalia. Bocelli. Polisina. Tatalia took it deftly. Set it back for Pickett out. The other way was Murray. Murray with much room to drive into. Space for Kawano, who was found tidily. Moved on for Bocelli, who's got Mitchell to go at. Carol Bocelli unable to do so. Grace Mitchell did well. Is there to be any late stamp on the first half? Kawano was wrestling with Flamenco on a free kick. Yuri Kawano and her were entangled. Keilor Park free kick. Who have hardly had a look in this first half. Then speared for Henderson in the channel. Alert to it was Tatalia, picked up by Polisina, who had 2 to go around and couldn't quite get herself out of that particular bind. Ken Flamenc is asked of in the channel. Tatalia will usher it out for a goal kick. Polisina had dropped deepest. Been a measured Box Hill first half. One of complete control. Tatalia had made the run. Cut out by Mitchell. Now on the overlap, Polisina poked it away from Henderson, and perhaps critically, Sakalis, who couldn't spin Commodore. Recovered by Smith, who was bundled into, and wins a free kick. Keilor Park free kick as we are to tick towards stoppage time. Rumour is of only a minute or two. And the first half that has flowed, though here is out. Lovely swivel away from two, and it tipped devilishly. Czesał's ever. Segavcic was worried momentarily. Oh, it did not quite have enough to trouble her further. That comfortably, though, the best Keilor Park have produced in this first half. First opportunity they've shown to have a bit of bite towards Box Hill. Has swiveled well. Strike was not a bad one. Player who was last on the score sheet as they were victorious over Melbourne City long after her return back in early July. Anyway, further forward for Tatalia, who had looked to drift beyond. Still searching for a second. Taken up by Bocelli. Set back for Pickett. Murray. Okay, now went to press. Murray took the space which she was afforded. Minerick, who had a stumble, which invited Sheehan to press, invited out to win it. Sheehan was without option further forward. Smith out the other way. Al was met by Murray. Minerick, well threaded. Policina with options left and right. One of whom was Kawano, who had swivelled in behind. Power lunged in. Box Hill wants a penalty. That's a shout which was waved away. As we do tick into just a single minute of stoppage time. Almost a flashpoint on the stroke of it. Mia Power had to be most careful. That's well read by Pickett. Here is Policina. Three streaming forward for her. One of whom was Kawano, who wins a corner. Maybe one last look before the break. Kawano's just had a couple of late looks in order to add a double for herself. Policina has a late corner. First half's dying embers. Is there to be one last spark? Policina's take to the near post. Up by Glaze, likewise Bocelli, but without much fuss was able to gather. Bocelli stayed high, though will not be able to enact any further pressure. And so, for Box Hill, Premiership pendulum is still well and truly in their favour. They are halfway to heading into the final day at the top of the tree. Bocelli set up Kawano early. They had a couple of opportunities since, though have not been able to extend further. Half time in Keilor Park. It's Keilor Park 0, Box Hill United 1. say it 100 times. It's one of them. I hate it when I get it wrong as well. I don't like it. Because I'm a perfectionist, I never fuck it up. Apart from now when I've got it wrong. I always get it right until someone tells me I'm wrong. It's a rarity. It happens, but it's rare as fuck. And it annoys me more than anything. One more person tells me, I just don't laugh. My memory's not that short, don't worry. Awesome. Four away clean sheets, I think it's like fifth. That's a really interesting actually. This is why I like these games because this time of the season, because you have all of the numbers in front of you. It's not like you're trying to build them as the season goes, you have basically everything in mind. This is absolutely great. If we start with my stat sheet, it's such a difficult start with the stat sheet. I've got such a bad stat sheet. Not the worst idea in the world, actually. No, it genuinely isn't. Okay. Alright. I usually wait until I know someone I'm actually going out for that space. Yeah. It works for some people. I don't think it works for me. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think I've adopted the less is more approach when it comes to. So it's a good thing about having an issue. I'd be stuck. I doubt they will make it. I wouldn't, personally. What did you say all their shooters on the next? They've got some good players. Yeah, also. Which is stupid. Yeah, that's why I think they could go right. The actual depth of this side is. They've got one goal. I'm starting to see the score goals are fun. Genuinely score goals for fun. I'm going to go. There is a change. There is a Jessica Sheehan's Mother of the guy.
Go, Eddie, go! Go, Margo! I want to see that Sally!
Right, let's go. You ready? Yeah. Actually, okay. We'll wait until all of the staff as well. I think it's better. Way before Marco will be it. Okay, let's go. So from the break at Keilor Park, one change for the hosts for Jessica Sheehan. Afternoon comes to its close. Annika Gallagher comes on. And the second of those two changes as well. Margot Rabin in place of Ellie Fleming. He was on the score sheet against Bentley Greens not too long ago. Only 2 home games ago. Rescued a point on that occasion. We'll be hoping to do the same today. Box Hill, no changes. To a side in the first half who played with control and created a plethora of chances. Still the earliest of which, Jimmy Kawano, was the one that put them ahead. As it stays in the Premiership race, they are doing their bit. To keep it as is, it at least keeps them top of the table. Essendon Royals are to match their result and to win today. The race will go to the final day. For Keilor Park, though, they will be hoping it is not a sombre end to things at home in 2026. It's the penultimate match day, their final home game. Whereas for Box Hill, they bid farewell before finals to Wembley Park the week prior. Got up. To slow up Power. And we got the final touch. To see if they can get themselves back into this game right at the start of the second half. Box Hill flew out of the traps in the first. Wadder got up. Still down the line by Sakalis, who got it back from Kawano. Sliding in was Gallagher.
Good Margot, yes. Claudia.
Take from this second half, they will maybe want one in way of insurance. There's grappled too much with Kawano and gave away a free kick. I understand today, the Premiership may not be set in stone. So the Royals off to a good start against Heidelberg. And we'll be keeping an eye on how that afternoon transpires. Talia lost out, and Henderson is on the charge. Away from Murakami. Sakalis was one too many to go beyond. She found Polisina. Sakalis with power to go at. In fact, Pickett who got a foot in. Sakalis' whip wanted Kawano. Commodori cut it out. Out, who took it tidily. Wadder pressed her. Stayed into the channel. Gallagher wanted to ensure Minerick had to do enough. So halfway to a 5th league clean sheet away from home. Not too much in way of test in the first half. Just as ever, the closest Keilor Park came. Good movement from Minerick, who was then collected by Commodori and won a free kick. First opportunity of the second half, perhaps, to eye a second. Wilson took it in a hurry. Minerick went with depth. Wanted no further than Kawano, whose effort was sliced. Sets up invitingly. Afternoon that has become slightly more swirling in terms of its breeze. It's been a day in truth that is autochthonous to Melbourne. It's now bright and beautiful. Murakami, Polisina. Set slightly behind Sakalis, who will make it work. Had power in retreat, had power to go beyond. Sakalis willed it off. Just allowed the time for Gallagher to get back. Turn through Murray instead. Pickett, Wadder. Still for Tatalia. Murakami wins a free kick. In a position of promise. Polisina over it. Polisina's free kick, whipped low for Murakami. Sakalis nearly followed it in. Then up to Tatalia. Slightly behind. Sidney Mineric will make it work. Polisina. Patient. Back from Mineric. The other way for Shelley, who could not quite keep it alive. Squander. When they cease to hang in there and start to have one go. Two changes made at half time. Still on the bench. Holmes, who's been a regular source of goals. Got by Murakami. Sakalis. Still the goal for Shelley, and it lets to go round. Tatalia, Polisina. And he would have left it for Murray. Mineric. It's beyond Gallagher, though not out. Rabin couldn't get it under. Taken over by Murray. Moved on for Sakalis. Clip for Kawano, who was offside.
Left wing.
Still the game's sole goal scorer. A couple of opportunities before the break to add a second for herself, did Juri Kawano. Able to convert on those prospects. Power through Rabin, who guided it for Henderson. Sevcic judged it superbly. And Henderson got there, though it wouldn't have mattered, the flag was up.
Hey, Marco, well done. Yeah, good.
Important Saturday around this league, right at the start of the second half. The victory still going ahead against Alamein. And Dara have made it 3 against Avondale, which could pose, in terms of the finals picture, something problematic for the Avengers. Box Hill might just have peripheral vision on that. Missing the Royals League Heidelberg 3-1. So still are taking the race to the last day. This is Paliwoda, who's got room 2 row. And Mineric round the outside. Thought he was in retreat. Mineric steered it. Murakami met it. Bocelli arriving. Still no effort over the bar. Oh, it was a smooth move. It was wonderfully taken up by Sophia Paliwoda. Mineric held the width well. Just for Keilor and Bocelli did not catch it cleanly. Comfortably the most incisive move of the second half. In its early inception. It's Kawano. Able to steer it down the line. Picked off by Mitchell. Moved for Henderson. Split favour Tatalia. Had another joy down the right hand side in that first half, did Tatalia, working in combination with Bocelli, who has switched flanks for the second half. Murakami now operating down that side with speed for Bocelli. He was unable to get there ahead of Power. Set centrally. Sarah Mitchell to take over. It was encased by 2. It was won well by Murray, who had 3 up with her, one of whom was Murakami. Clip for Sakalis, who looked to steer it for Bocelli, and away by Smith. Covered by Kawano. Murakami. Power's turn to clear. Ricocheted off Polisina, who got it from Sakalis. And then Murakami. And her effort blocked by Smith once more. Mineric recovered. Polisina just shifted a yard to Polisina and scored a perler. Whipped wonderfully. And not only can Box Hill breathe, they have two. And are maybe just sighting away to stay at the top of the tree through to the final day. Unrelenting. Keilor Park couldn't clear, they were punished for it. And it was gently guided more than anything by Policina. Byrne got a palm on it, though that was all she could provide. At the start of the half, it is what was so desperately sought at the break for Box Hill, and Policina's at it again, moved it on for Murakami. We were searching for a quick fire double. So it's helped out for Gallagher. We've been with room. To set it back for Mitchell. Being glazed though for Rihanna Policina. He's got 3 in her last 2 away games now. A decisive double at Bulleen, and that's a teasing guide from Sakalis. Murakami there was offside. Crucial on that day in particular. Maybe one that sent the Premiership charge in their favour. 2 in 7 minutes to flip the table's top complexion on its head. And turn the game that Box Hill were looking towards and defeating into one which they stole. Tidy, that was too tall for out. Gallagher will make it work though. Steer from a beat, cut out by Murray. Water. Still back for Pickett. Murray again, Water had space. Entirely around the outside. Sakalis was central. They've gone for Mineric. Policina. Form. Way to open up. Box Hill might be looking perhaps at a change. Sakalis. Space for Tatalia. Looked to set for Murakami at the back post, though it had too much depth. And those changes will not have to wait long. First 2. Box Hill for the afternoon. Carabacelli, who set up the first goal. As her day come to an end, is to be replaced by Erin Keats, who started the season in supreme form in front of goal. Has been a regular source across all competitions throughout the year. Gabrielle Simpson too makes her way on. As the afternoon for Sophia Sakalis reaches its conclusion likewise. 2 second half changes either way. For Box Hill. It's a rich arsenal for which they can look to on the bench. They will want to put this beyond further any and all reasonable doubt. To ward off Commodore Smith. Was returned Thorpe on a Commodore. Murakami timed the challenge well. Ball flung long. It was awkward for Murray, though not for Pickett, who came through to clear. Just 1 and 2 calls, something in the way of bother. Power long throw. Good fought out. Murray got up. Likewise Kawano. Murakami.
Good! On it! Together!
And Smith to evade. That's superbly done. Murray. Kaliwada. Murakami had to lunge. He was always having a lot asked of her.
Play the pressure, we're going.
So this time for Rubin, who may have been offside had she gone to have a go at it. Instead, will trick it up for a goal kick. So with the perfect amount of breathing room. Had a couple of opportunities which they did not take towards the break. For Rihanna Policina. At the end of a chaotic couple of minutes, Keilor Park were clinging on, not cling on for long enough to withstand. So it's Policina again. The other way for Murray. Policina on the charge. Waiting on runners further forward. Titania and Keat obliged. Erin Keat took deftly. Seemed to swivel sharply and no way beyond Henderson. To conjure a third. Well and truly found the net with frequency this season. Had to give chase. Recovery. Simpson was a good one though. I've got a bit of a problem. It's just maybe a bit of concern. Waiting over. Texas Smith is one of them. Georgia Henderson the other. It's the welfare of Margot Rubin, half-time substitute. It's a little worse for wear after the most recent particular challenge. Thankfully, is back on her feet, though is making way rather gingerly. Keilor Park, and in fact, they will make a change, and so Rubin will not be risked. She will make way for Georgia Thackeray. Not what they would have wanted, and so. Half-time substitute as Rubin heads down the tunnel. That's the misfortune of something rather nasty. She will play no further part. Thackeray will make her way on. In order to lead the line, though that was something they were hoping would not have to be done. Change out of, now they hope, precaution as well as necessity on the day. It's a good read from Gallagher. Thackeray's first touch was loose. Set back for Minerick. So they've been in control through the vast majority this afternoon. Murray has seen a lot of it, likewise Policina. Murray, who had room, beyond it. Murakami will give chase. Commodore was ahead of the foot race and played it smartly. Keilor Park have not been able to offer much in the way of reply. Dropped off deftly. Smith's touch was heavy. Policina picked it off as a result. Kawano battling with power. Power was in too firmly to try and win it. Box Hill free kick. In fact, they now might have a problem with themselves. Churi Kawano has stayed down. And they have inadvertently walked a little bit of a nasty one. Box Hill will momentarily be down to 10. Kawano looks to be alright. They resume. She is waved back on with immediacy. She's 60 seconds away from the full ensemble. They move differently. Again with room. Stealing for Keilor, who made the run smartly, has power to go at, and wins a corner. Box Hill set piece. Cena saunters over. Cena's take to the congregation on the area, and the flick on from Paliwoda makes it 3. Set piece special. Delivered perfectly by Polisina. Nodded with certainty. 3 goals and perhaps 3 points. As Box Hill continue the charge. They can feel they are on the threshold. Premiership looms. Next week though it may be. They are starting to see the sight, and for Murakami, an industrious and delightful afternoon will reach its close. Our team will make way on for her. Yes, Sophia Paliwoda got bigger than the rest. Skipper there to nod home. To make it 3 and to add some shine to a glittering Box Hill performance. Coach K would be ecstatic. Looking at 12 league games without defeat. There is a perfect time to hit that kind of form. It is now. Power on the charge forward. Look to thread it for Annika Gallagher, who couldn't quite get there. Afternoon that could perhaps have closed the potential banana skin. No trips to close the campaign are tricky. They have one more to follow before finals, where they could well and truly wrap up the Premiership next week away at Melbourne City. So who themselves are already relegated, who cannot be budged from the bottom of the division. Keilor Park themselves, they close their season away at Boroondara, who, if things stay for them as they are today, could be eyeing a top 4 finish. Good take from Gallagher, who has looked a lively substitute. Anderson looked to steer it. Power had tucked in. Kawano is under immediate pressure, and it'll hold up for her, though Power was too forceful when looking to go and win it. Think of the equation. outside looking in, hoping, wanting for something to keep the door open for them today. Box Hill have all but done their bit. That's the Royals too. Are doing theirs. To be a two-team tango on the final day. 18 on the turn, out for Tatalia. Pickett, who her and Murray have been, for what they have had to deal with today, insurmountable for Keilor Park. As Pickett is now invited to advance. Whips in the channel for Keith, who was a winning runner. Just came across. Hoping perhaps Box Hill to take a couple more with them. Goal difference could prove crucial. They have a few to make up in the closing weeks of the season if there is to be any misfortune for them in way of a slip up. Tatalia got under it. Now the only one waiting. Team tried to put a foot in. Now evaded her, then evaded Keith to good effect. Good read from Minerick. Smith couldn't get it under. Stayed out the other way for Simpson. Now read it well. He's looking and lurking. Mitchell with tidy footwork. Evaded too. Steve where only Pickett was waiting. Talia in a bundle. And Henderson was also part of a collision. And Talia both know there was no malice in it. Pickett was steered into the channel. Henderson will give chase. We'll look to usher her out of play. We'll do so for a goal kick. Henderson had to lunge in order to get there.
As it progresses there, try and get to the goal. Don't need your help. Good G.
No room for Pickett. He's been as cleanly cut, as thorough, as dominant, and as well as devastating as possible from Box Hill this afternoon. Complete control. And the goal would certainly have acted as a nerve settler, as well as a statement. Murray's footwork was tidy. Kaliwoda had room for which she can drive and continue to do so. For a moment, it entirely opened up. Rick was on the overlap. Polissina. Held the whip. Gallagher couldn't get there. Was whipped and punched by Byrne. Henderson in recovery cleared. Murray will reset. The bounce was awkward. Georgia Factory will give chase, though Murray kept her cool. Team with room to turn once more. They are on the precipice. Of something truly special. Last time premiers in 2012. 7-time premiers looking to make it 8 this season. Across many a Victorian League, Victorian Premier League premiers. 6 of those, this is their first look at a premiership in the top flight, of course. Many champions from last year wanting to look at another. It's an illustrious club who had to wait some time in order to open the cabinet again. 13 years between their last Victorian Premier League Championship and the NPL Championship last year. Wanting to make silverware a regular occurrence. It's all good for Murray, who had a stumble. Slight loss of footing and a slight bit of misfortune. So again, the changes will be run. Kawado's afternoon will come to a close. She got it all going. Will be replaced by Jessie Armstrong. Victoria Zikas will make her way on 2. For Amelia Tatalia. 2 who have had terrific afternoons. 2 who now can be spared and saved for the trip to Melbourne City next Sunday. To be part of a Premiership winning team, perhaps, if that is to go their way. It is what is on offer. Happy with themselves. Last year went through quite a tricky final series in order to be crowned champions. Unrelented on the wave that was that momentum. Again, it will not be easy. Since it is a team, it is a club made of stern stuff. Many who know how to win. Plenty who were part of that success last season, wanting to go again. One of whom is Polissina. Space was worked by Mineric. Polissina looked to steer it down the line. Sure couldn't quite get it under. It's not the Keilor Park. Jess Howe's got a bit of a problem. He's suffering from cramp, but the kind which is not letting up. Anderson and Polissina both quickly over to check on her. She can now be properly tended to. Guess I'll just receiving some treatment. We may have yet another look around things. Around this league, this penultimate match day. On this only 94. But a few there are finals places in contention in the balance. One of which could be decided at the home of the Matildas. Avonade have got themselves level with a quarter of an hour to go. They'll have pulled one back against Boroondara, who are still hoping to keep hopes of a top 4 finish alive. Essendon Royals and Heidelberg. Royals still lead 3-1, still keeping their respective Premiership hopes alive, their respective hopes for a treble alive. For Box Hill, here at this point in time, 3 goals, well on course for 3 points for an 8th Premiership in total across both the Victorian Premier League and the National Premier League's Victoria. First in the top flight. Towards Mineric was converging with Armstrong. By Thackeray, set on for Smith. Power. Commodore neatly done. And now Mia Power's got room, from which she can charge forward. She's arriving. Thackeray was one of them. The ball just a bit too much on it. Allowed Segevcic to go and claim. for Keilor Park. Their job was done this season quite some time ago. Safety well and truly secured. Relegation has been decided for about a month now, though we have known in recent times who could very well be joining us in Victoria's top step come 2027. That's one team that are making the jump up to the top tier for the first time in the club's history. Incredible achievement for them. They will be coming to join the best that this state has to offer. Still one spot up for grabs in the second tier to make the journey to the Senol National Premier League Victoria Women for the coming calendar year. As for the majority of these clubs, we are about to bid farewell to the one that is. For Box Hill, they know that they can steer sight towards finals, towards beyond in post-season for some time. After handball against team was turned away. Minerick, who steered it for Policina. Commodore got up and had to. Again, Murray had a slip, and it might favour Thackeray, who is waiting on options. Two up with her. Footing from Minerick slowed her up. Pally would have got a challenge in two. Taken over by Teen, who did so deftly. Simpson was happy to set it back. It's been an afternoon for Keilor Park of scarce opportunity. Any real chances have been few and far between. Jessica has had their best look in the first half. Kulisevich just had to be watchful. Koala's open up before the break. Policina and Paddywater. Towards this half's midway point, have set things all but in stone. Pickett wanted to draw the press. Murray. Was hit too heavily for Policina. Was picked off by Gallagher, who's away from Policina. Still going at Minerick. Murray came across to good effect. Policina took the sting out of the situation. Sydney Minerick as well was steadfast in her defensive effort. For Keilor Park, who could have eyed. Oh, they got 6 points from 6. They finish as high as 8th in the Senol National Premier League Victoria Women's. They will now have to settle. You sense to try and battle Heidelberg United on the final day. That would take something as the ball is steered in behind. Opportunity nearly opened up, and opened up kindly for Simpson, who couldn't quite get it under. It was cleared for where Murray could rekindle with it. Teen Murray. Again, patient for Holly Murray. Pickett happy to slow things to near stationary. The want-for pace is not being let up. On the Box Hill touchline, Keilor Parker prepping a change. Devon Jackson is looking to make her way on for what time that remains. Where they would certainly have wanted to bid farewell to this place positively. It is shaping up as though it's not to be for them this afternoon. As Devon Jackson will make her way on. And for Jessica Al, who had gone down with cramp not too long ago, she will find her afternoon at its conclusion. Keilor Parkside, who very much started slowly at home at this campaign. Took them a while to get up and running. They had not seen victory at this place for some time. It took them until May, where they were victorious over Spring Hills, to just gather some guile at home. It's the middle patch of the season where they steered any real relegation worry away. That period in time where they were victorious over Spring Hills, Bulleen, and then both Melbourne Victory and City, which put all fears to rest. As for Box Hill, it's been a season where they've been in the hunt from the off. They know they are only one away from finding a first Senol National Premier League Victoria Women's Premiership. Victorian Premier League premiers on many occasions. As still, Sarah Mitchell has stayed down. Was maybe not best pleased about the contacts in the challenge with Armstrong. There might have been a twinge of cramp kicking in too. Box Hill are simply ticking the time away. Coach K has wanted the standards to remain high. Could use this week, the time that remains, as perhaps an audition early for what could come in finals, in terms of how they would want to see games out. As once again things go up a level, they go up many an octave. In terms of the pressure, it is all about to get ramped up. Today and next week, where they have the opportunity to wrap up the Premiership, it is also a dress rehearsal for the finals. As Keat dropped in to good effect. He's going to clip it out the other way for Zikas, Pickett, Paliwoda. Speed into the channel for Policina, who had 3 to contend with. Commodore was the one that went and won it. Smith out the other way. Mitchell has some room, has Teen to go at. Speared it in to a space for Henderson, though she was unable to give chase. Ball was far too heavy. Keilor Park perhaps even takes something with them. That's gorgeously guided from Policina. Teen's touch a little heavy, invited Smith to challenge. Mitchell couldn't find a way beyond Paliwoda, who got a foot in. Guys again wanted Henderson. It was read by Zikas. That steered for Henderson, who was beyond Pickett. Shout for a penalty was waved away. Keilor Park were adamant that maybe they should have had a spot kick. Henderson may not have been helped by the fact that she looked as though she lost her footing too, as Keat was in too firmly. Embers for Keilor Park. They cannot close at home with a win. They certainly will be wanting to next week. Burundara trip is not going to be easy. A tricky place to go, which this has proved to be for some, as we head into 2 minutes of stoppage time at this afternoon's conclusion. Has been one of complete and utter Box Hill control from start to finish. Afternoon that they certainly could have seen as one that had the potential to be problematic. Has been seen off with the composure. Classic, dare you say, premiers, certainly a reigning champions. Good time for Paddy Water, is there maybe one more for them to take with them? Instead opted to return for Minerick. Murray. Picking with patience. They've done their bit. Have played the parts they needed to, as still the season's protagonists. The team now have been tested and challenged in the hunt. Essendon Roars will take it to the final day with them. The Boxer will head into it on pole position, knowing they are 90 away from not just the Premiership, but from a favourable finals run for a favourable championship defence, which for them is quickly forthcoming. Anderson's turn, led by Simpson, taken by Armstrong. Polisina, who has been architect of the afternoon, fitting that she may have the final touches as Box Hill are on the precipice of the Premiership. 90 minutes at Melbourne City separates them from finishing top of the lot. For Keilor Park, they bow out at home in defeat. Where Kawano had got it going, it was Polisina and Paddy Water in the second half that made Super sure beyond doubt. 90 minutes from Premiership glory. Full time at Keilor Park. It is Keilor Park 0, Box Hill 3.